Life has a way of presenting us with endless reasons to delay. We tell ourselves that the timing isn't right, that the economy is unstable, that people around us won't understand, or that we don't yet have what it takes. We look at our dreams and say, someday. But someday is a thief. Someday robs us of today's momentum, today's energy, today's opportunity. The truth is, no one wins by waiting. Victory belongs to those who execute even when circumstances are not perfect. In fact, circumstances are never perfect. If you are waiting for the day when everything lines up, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. The bridge between where you are now and where you want to be is built with action, not excuses. An excuse may sound reasonable, it may even feel comforting for a moment, but it is still an escape route that leads nowhere. Every excuse postpones your progress and steals from your future. The person who learns to shift from excuses to execution understands that progress is not about being ready, it's about being willing. Readiness is a myth. Willingness is the truth. Those who are willing to act, even in uncertainty, are the ones who build momentum. And momentum is what transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Think about the stories of every successful person you admire. They did not step into their vision because life handed them a perfect set of conditions. They moved despite obstacles. They acted when fear whispered in their ear. They executed when others were making excuses. The difference between those who win and those who remain stuck is not talent, not intelligence, not luck. It is execution. The discipline to take the step when it's uncomfortable. The courage to move forward when doubt is loud, and the persistence to keep going when excuses are tempting. When you decide to execute, you declare that your dream matters more than your comfort. Excuses are rooted in comfort. Execution is rooted in commitment. Excuses keep you talking about what could be. Execution shows the world what is possible. In 2025, the world is not waiting for more dreamers. It is waiting for more doers. Those who execute will be the ones who write the story of this year. The ones who act will be the ones who step into new levels of success, abundance, and fulfillment. Execution demands a shift in mindset. You must begin to see excuses for what they are. Lies that sound like reasons. They may disguise themselves as protection, but they are actually prisons. They keep you locked in cycles of hesitation and regret. You may say, I don't have enough money, yet history is filled with people who started with nothing and built empires. You may say, I don't have enough time, but everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. You may say, I don't have the connections, but execution builds influence, and influence builds connections. Every excuse you can name has already been defeated by someone who chose execution over hesitation. So why not you? Why not now? The beautiful thing about execution is that it does not require perfection. It only requires persistence. When you execute, you will stumble, you will fail, you will face rejection, but every failure becomes data, every rejection becomes redirection, and every stumble becomes strength. Excuses protect you from none of this, but they also protect you from growth. If you never move, you never learn. If you never act, you never adapt. If you never execute, you never win. This year is not just another calendar year, it is a divine opportunity. It is a chance to break patterns that have held you back for too long. 2025 can be the year you finally stop circling the same mountain of excuses and step into the promised land of execution. The decision to execute is the decision to respect the time you've been given. Life is short, and the window for action is not guaranteed to remain open forever. Tomorrow is not promised, but today is here. What will you do with it? Will you trade it for excuses, or will you invest it in execution? Execution transforms vision into reality. Excuses keep vision locked in imagination. You can dream about writing that book forever, or you can start typing the first sentence. You can talk about starting that business forever, or you can register the name and make the first call. You can imagine yourself healthy and strong forever, forever, or you can put on your shoes and take the first run. Execution is always about the next step, not the whole staircase. Excuses overwhelm you by making you think you need the whole plan before you begin. Execution frees you by reminding you that all you need is the next step. People often overestimate the power of ideas and underestimate the power of action. Ideas are plentiful, but execution is rare. That is why ideas by themselves are cheap, but executed ideas change the world. You don't need another idea in 2025. You need execution. You don't need another strategy session. You need implementation. You don't need more waiting. You need winning. And the gap between waiting and winning is execution. Think of the farmer who wants a harvest. He can sit and talk about the seed, dream about the seed, pray about the seed, but until he executes, until he puts his hand to the plow and places that seed in the ground, there will be no harvest. Excuses will let him starve in the middle of fertile land. Execution will bring forth fruit. The principle is the same in your life. Your field is ready, your seed is in your hand, but the harvest will only come through execution. The reason many never execute is because excuses feel safer. They give you a false sense of control. If you never try, you never fail. If you never step out, you never face rejection. But here's the secret. By not executing, you are already failing. By not acting, you are already rejecting yourself. By staying still, you are already saying no to your future. Execution may cost you comfort, but excuses will cost you destiny. Which price would you rather pay? To shift from excuses to execution, you must change your language. Every time you hear yourself say, I can't because, replace it with, I can if. Instead of saying, I can't start my business because I don't have capital, say, I can start my business if I begin with what I have and grow from there. Instead of saying, I can't improve my health because I'm too busy, say, I can improve my health if I schedule it as a priority. Language matters because your words shape your beliefs and your beliefs shape your actions. Excuses limit you, execution liberates you. Another truth about execution is that it thrives in discipline. You will never feel like doing the hard things every day, but discipline carries you when motivation is weak. Execution is not about how you feel in the moment, it's about the commitment you made to the bigger picture. If you only execute when you feel inspired, you'll remain inconsistent. But when you build discipline, execution becomes your lifestyle. And lifestyles create legacies. 2025 must be the year you stop negotiating with your excuses. Stop giving them power. Stop letting them sound convincing. Stop treating them as valid reasons. Your destiny does not respond to excuses, it responds to execution. Every single time you act, you weaken the grip of excuses on your mind. Every single time you choose progress over procrastination, you build momentum that excuses cannot stop. Think of momentum like a river. At first, execution feels like pushing against resistance, but once the current starts to flow, it carries you. Momentum will do more for you in 30 days than excuses will do in 30 years. But momentum only begins when you shift from excuses to execution. You are not waiting on life. Life is waiting on you. You are not waiting on opportunities. Opportunities are waiting for your execution. The door you want to walk through will not open until you take the step toward it. The connections you need will not appear until you execute on what's in front of you. The growth you desire will not come until you decide to stop making excuses and start making moves. Let this be the year you silence every reason that tells you why you can't and amplify every reason why you must. Let this be the year you prove to yourself that excuses were nothing but illusions. Let this be the year you execute on your vision, your calling, your purpose, because your execution does not just affect you, it affects everyone connected to you, your family, your community, your future generations. They are all impacted by whether you choose excuses or execution. When you execute, you create an atmosphere where others are inspired to do the same. Your courage becomes contagious. Your discipline becomes a standard. Your results become proof that it is possible. But when you live in excuses, you unconsciously give others permission to settle. That is not who you are. You were not created to settle. You were created to win. And winning only comes through execution. So the decision is before you. Excuses or execution, delay or destiny, comfort or calling, waiting or winning. In 2025, may you choose execution every time. May you step boldly into your assignments. May you act even when it's hard. May you refuse to let another day slip away to excuses, because your future is too important, your calling is too great, and your time is too precious. This is your year to execute. This is your year to build. This is your year to win. Stop waiting. Stop rehearsing reasons. Stop living in delay. The only way forward is execution. And once you commit to execution, excuses lose their voice, fear loses its grip, and the life you've been dreaming about becomes the life you begin living. You are one decision away from shifting your story. Choose execution and watch 2025 become the year that everything changes. We live in a world that often glorifies overnight success stories, the highlight reels, and the dramatic transformations. We see the before and after pictures, the instant wins, the viral moments that make someone appear to have achieved greatness in a blink of an eye. But what the world rarely shows is the process. It doesn't show the countless small actions repeated over and over again that built the foundation for that so-called instant success. The truth is simple. Big wins are never the product of a single grand moment. They are the result of small, consistent actions taken day after day. Consistency is the invisible force that shapes destiny. It doesn't always feel glamorous, it doesn't always feel exciting, but it is always effective. A small daily action may not look like much in the moment, but compounded over time, it becomes unstoppable. Think about a single drop of water. By itself, it seems insignificant, but if that drop keeps falling over time, it can carve through stone. That is the power of consistency. What feels small today becomes powerful tomorrow. What feels ordinary now becomes extraordinary later. So many people dream of big wins but refuse to embrace small actions. They want the harvest without planting seeds. They want the strength without lifting weights. They want the wealth without managing the small resources they already have. But life doesn't work that way. Life rewards those who are faithful in the small things, those who are willing to show up every day, those who refuse to despise small beginnings. Big wins are attracted to discipline, not daydreams. If you want to transform your life in 2025, don't look for the one big leap that will solve everything. Look for the small actions you can commit to daily. The small decision to wake up earlier. The small decision to write one page of your book. The small decision to save a portion of your income. The small decision to practice gratitude every morning. The small decision to make that phone call. One action may feel small in isolation, but when compounded with consistency, it creates momentum, and momentum is what produces big wins. Consistency also builds trust in yourself. Every time you follow through on a small action, you are proving to yourself that you can be trusted to keep commitments. And when you trust yourself, confidence grows. Many people struggle with self-doubt, but the antidote to self-doubt is self-trust, and self-trust is built through consistency. You don't need to conquer the world today. You just need to keep your word to yourself today. Do the small action you said you would do and repeat it tomorrow and repeat it the day after. Confidence isn't built in giant steps. It is built in consistent steps. Think of the athlete training for a championship. The victory is not in the single moment of the game. It is in the countless practices, the early mornings, the repeated drills that nobody sees. Think of the musician mastering an instrument. The performance may wow the crowd, but the excellence was shaped in the lonely hours of consistent practice. Think of the entrepreneur who builds a successful company. The launch looks impressive, but the success was forged in daily actions. Phone calls, meetings, refining, building, learning, failing, and showing up again. In every field, in every story, the pattern is the same. Big wins are built, not wished. They are the result of habits, not hope. And habits are formed through small, consistent actions. You don't need to take 1,000 steps at once. You just need to take one step 1,000 times. The challenge is that small actions don't always feel significant in the moment. Reading one page doesn't feel like much. Saving $10 doesn't feel like wealth. Doing 10 push-ups doesn't feel like strength. Saying one kind word doesn't feel like transformation. But over time, these small actions accumulate. 1 page a day becomes books read. $10 a day becomes wealth compounded. 10 push-ups a day becomes a stronger body. One kind word a day becomes restored relationships. This is why discipline is so critical. The human mind is often addicted to quick results. We want the big win instantly, and when we don't see it, we get discouraged. But those who master discipline understand that results are delayed. They understand that seeds take time to grow. They understand that faithfulness in the small will eventually produce fruit in the big. So the key question you must ask yourself is this: what small actions can I commit to daily in 2025? Because those actions will decide your wins. It is not the massive effort once in a while that transforms your life. It is the small, faithful effort every day. One conversation may not change your life, but one conversation every day will open doors you never imagined. One workout may not transform your health, but one workout every day will create a body that feels alive. One small saving habit may not make you rich overnight, but it will build wealth that lasts. Small actions also train your mind to focus on progress, not perfection. Perfection is paralyzing. It whispers that if you can't do it all, don't do it at all. But progress says, just do something. Take the next step. Do what you can today. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be consistent. Consistency beats perfection every time, because consistency creates movement, and movement creates momentum, and momentum creates results. There's also a spiritual principle woven into this truth. Faithfulness in the little leads to being entrusted with much. If you cannot manage the small things, why would life or God trust you with the big things? If you cannot steward your mornings, how will you steward opportunities? If you cannot manage your current income, how will you handle greater wealth? If you cannot be consistent with the small actions, the big wins will crush you instead of bless you. Let this year be the year you stop underestimating the power of the small. Every mountain is climbed one step at a time. Every book is written one word at a time. Every relationship is built one moment at a time. Every victory is won one action at a time. And the beauty is, small actions are within your control. You may not be able to control the economy, the government, or other people, but you can control whether you take the small step today. You can control whether you repeat it tomorrow. Imagine where your life could be in 12 months if you simply committed to one small action in each important area of your life. One daily action for your health, one daily action for your finances, one daily action for your relationships, one daily action for your growth. Multiply that by 365 days and you will not recognize yourself by the end of the year. The transformation will feel miraculous, but it will not be a miracle. It will be the result of consistency. And when you look back, you will realize that the big wins were never a sudden leap. They were a staircase you built step by step, action by action, day by day. You will realize that what once felt impossible became inevitable because you refused to quit. Too often people give up not because the big win is impossible, but because the small action felt insignificant. They quit the workout after 2 weeks. They quit saving after a month. They quit writing after one chapter. They quit calling after a few rejections. They quit because they couldn't see the immediate reward. But if you can learn to trust the process, to stay faithful in the small, to keep going when it doesn't feel like it's working, you will experience the breakthrough. There is a law of compounding that cannot be broken. What you repeat grows stronger. What you water grows deeper. What you feed grows bigger. Small actions compound. Just as small negative actions compound into destruction, small positive actions compound into success. Missing one workout doesn't hurt, but missing 100 creates weakness. Eating one unhealthy meal doesn't hurt, but repeating it daily creates disease. Spending a little recklessly doesn't hurt, but doing it consistently leads to debt. On the other hand, one healthy choice a day builds strength. One kind action a day builds love. One wise financial decision a day builds wealth. Small, consistent actions are compounding forces, and compounding forces change everything. Your destiny is not decided in the dramatic moments. It is decided in the small choices you make every day. What you choose when no one is watching, what you choose when it's inconvenient, what you choose when it feels too small to matter. Those choices repeated become habits. Habits become character. Character becomes destiny. This is why you must take your small actions seriously. They are not just small actions, they are seeds of greatness. They are investments in your future. They are bricks in the foundation of your success. If you sow them consistently, you will reap abundantly. If you neglect them, you will wonder why the big win never came. The world will always celebrate the big win, but you must learn to celebrate the small action. Celebrate showing up. Celebrate the page written. Celebrate the workout finished. Celebrate the money saved. Celebrate the call made. Celebrate the conversation had. Because those celebrations fuel consistency, and consistency fuels breakthrough. There will be days when you feel tired, days when you feel discouraged, days when you feel like your small actions don't matter. But those are the days that matter most. Because showing up on the hard days is what separates those who win from those who quit. Anyone can act when it feels easy. Champions act when it feels hard. In 2025, you have the chance to redefine your life by redefining your consistency. Don't wait for the big break. Create it through small breaks. Don't wait for the big opportunity. Create it through small opportunities. Don't wait for the big win. Create it through small wins. And the accumulation of those small wins will become your breakthrough story. At the end of this year, you will not remember every single action, but you will feel the result of every single one. You will look back and see that the consistent effort made you stronger, wiser, wealthier, more focused, more fulfilled. You will realize that greatness was never about doing everything in one day. It was about doing something every day. So stop underestimating what you can do in the small. Stop despising the day of small beginnings. Stop telling yourself it doesn't matter. Every action matters. Every step counts. Every seed planted is a future harvest. Big wins are simply the reward of small, consistent actions. Let 2025 be the year you embrace this truth fully. Let it be the year you stop chasing the instant and start committing to the consistent. Let it be the year you stop wishing for a miracle and start creating one with your daily discipline. Let it be the year you prove that small, consistent actions create big wins. Because in the end, success is not about what you do once. It's about what you do repeatedly. Victory is not about intensity once in a while. It's about consistency over time. And if you will commit to the small actions today, you will celebrate the big wins tomorrow. Every breakthrough begins with belief, but belief alone is not enough. Faith without courage remains locked in thought, and courage without faith often burns out. It is when faith and courage come together that true momentum is born. Momentum is what carries you forward when strength is weak, when doubts are loud, when the obstacles seem overwhelming. Momentum is the invisible force that multiplies your effort, and it is created when you dare to believe in what is unseen and step boldly into what is uncertain. Faith gives you the vision, courage gives you the action, and together they ignite momentum that cannot be stopped. Think about it. Faith allows you to see beyond your current circumstance. It allows you to declare that where you are is not the end of your story. It reminds you that greater things are possible, that what looks impossible can still happen, that the mountain in front of you can move. But faith without courage is like having a map, but never leaving your house. You can know the destination, you can dream about the journey, but until you take that first step, you remain in the same place. That is why courage is essential. Courage does not remove fear, it moves forward despite fear. Courage looks at the same obstacles faith has revealed and says, let's go anyway. And when faith and courage join hands, something powerful begins to move. Momentum is created. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. Once it starts, it carries you further than you ever thought possible. At first, it feels like pushing a heavy boulder up a hill. Every step is hard, every action feels heavy, every moment feels like a struggle. But once the boulder starts rolling, it builds speed. What once required great effort now feels natural. What once drained your energy now multiplies it. Momentum works for you, but it can only be built when faith and courage work together. Momentum is not built in waiting, it is built in motion. And motion requires faith to see the vision and courage to take the step. Too many people stay locked in waiting. They wait for the fear to disappear. They wait for the conditions to be perfect. They wait for others to approve. They wait for certainty. But waiting does not create momentum. Only movement does. And movement comes when you believe enough to trust and you are bold enough to act. Faith is the engine, courage is the fuel, and momentum is the vehicle that carries you. Without faith, your courage has no direction. Without courage, your faith has no evidence. But together, they produce results that accelerate over time. This is why so many people who seem unstoppable are not necessarily more talented, but they have momentum. They believed enough to start. They acted enough to move. And the momentum carried them further than skill alone ever could. When you look at history's greatest achievements, you will always see this pattern. The innovators, the leaders, the dreamers, they had faith in something unseen. They believed in a vision no one else could see, but they didn't stop there. They had the courage to act when others mocked, doubted, or resisted. That combination created momentum that changed nations, transformed industries, and shifted cultures. Momentum doesn't care who you are or where you start. It responds to faith and courage. Momentum also has a compounding effect. The first steps may feel slow, but once you begin, each step becomes easier. Faith becomes stronger, courage grows larger, and momentum builds faster. What once looked impossible now feels inevitable. Opportunities begin to open, people begin to notice, resources begin to flow. Momentum attracts support because people are drawn to movement. Nobody wants to follow someone standing still, but many will follow someone moving forward with conviction. Faith and courage not only create momentum for you, they create momentum for those around you. But let's be clear, faith is not fantasy, and courage is not recklessness. Faith is grounded in vision, in conviction, in a deeper truth that you hold on to when circumstances try to shake you. Courage is not ignoring risk, it is acknowledging risk, but choosing to move anyway. When faith is genuine and courage is disciplined, momentum is sustainable. It doesn't crash after one burst of energy. It carries you for the long run. The danger is that many people try to separate these elements. Some have faith but lack courage. They dream big, they speak big, they hope big, but they never move. They keep waiting for a perfect sign, but they miss the truth that the sign often appears after the step. Others have courage but lack faith. They move fast, they try everything, but without vision, they run in circles. They burn out because they have no anchor for their action. But those who combine both find the sweet spot where faith keeps them focused and courage keeps them moving. That is where momentum is born. Momentum is also spiritual in nature. Once you step into faith and courage, doors begin to open that logic cannot explain. Opportunities appear, strength rises, clarity comes. It feels as if heaven itself responds to your movement, because life was never meant to be lived in hesitation. Life rewards those who move. When you plant seeds in faith and water them with courage, momentum brings the harvest. Think of momentum like wind in your sails. At first, you are rowing, working hard to move forward, but as momentum builds, the wind catches your sail and accelerates you further than your own strength could take you. That is why momentum is so precious. Once you have it, guard it. Keep feeding it with faith. Keep fueling it with courage. Keep moving forward. Because momentum once lost is harder to regain. It's always easier to keep moving than to start over. So in this year, the call is clear. Do not just believe, act. Do not just act, believe. Let faith guide your courage and let courage prove your faith. When you do both, you will experience momentum that will make this year unlike any other. Your goals will stop being distant dreams and start becoming daily realities. Your vision will stop being locked in your mind and start manifesting in your life. And it won't be because of one giant leap, but because faith and courage work together to create unstoppable momentum. Even in moments of setback, momentum will carry you, because momentum is not perfection, it is persistence. You will face rejection, failure, delay. But if you keep believing and keep moving, momentum keeps you from quitting. It whispers that one setback is not the end, that one failure is just feedback, that one delay is not denial. Momentum reminds you that you are still moving, and as long as you are moving, you are still winning. This is why the enemy of momentum is not failure, it is stagnation. Failure still teaches, failure still moves you forward, but stagnation kills. Stagnation comes when you stop believing or when you stop moving. Protect your faith, protect your courage, because those are the engines of momentum. And here is the beauty. Momentum doesn't just help you in one area of life, it spills over into every area. The discipline you build in your health will give you courage in your finances. The faith you exercise in your career will give you courage in your relationships. Momentum multiplies. When you start moving in one area, you will feel empowered to move in others. That's why sometimes the smallest act of courage in one space creates massive momentum across your whole life. In 2025, you cannot afford to live in hesitation. You cannot afford to keep waiting for everything to align. You cannot afford to let fear and doubt hold you hostage. This is the year to combine faith and courage, to ignite momentum that will carry you into the life you've been dreaming about. Do not despise small steps. Do not despise uncertain beginnings. Do not despise imperfect action. Momentum doesn't need perfection. It needs persistence. It doesn't need everything. It needs something. Just start, just move, just act, and let your faith keep you steady and your courage keep you moving. Imagine what your life would look like by the end of this year if you simply refused to stop. Imagine what opportunities could unfold if you kept showing up. Imagine what victories you could celebrate if you didn't let fear paralyze you. Faith gives you the eyes to see it, courage gives you the legs to chase it, and momentum gives you the strength to catch it. You were not created to live stuck. You were not created to live small. You were not created to live in constant hesitation. You were created to live by faith, to walk in courage, and to build momentum that impacts not just your life, but the lives of everyone connected to you. Your children, your family, your community, your future generations, they are all waiting for you to step into momentum. Because your breakthrough is not just about you. Your breakthrough sets a pattern, creates a pathway, and shows others what is possible. So do not underestimate the power of combining faith and courage. Faith alone is not enough. Courage alone is not enough. But together, they create a force that cannot be stopped. Together, they turn mountains into stepping stones, obstacles into opportunities, and fear into fuel. Together, they generate momentum that will carry you further than you could ever go by willpower alone. Let this be the year you refuse to wait. Let this be the year you refuse to shrink. Let this be the year you move boldly, believe deeply, and step courageously. Because once you start, momentum will take over. And when momentum takes over, your story changes. Your vision becomes visible. Your calling becomes reality. Your potential becomes power. Faith plus courage equals momentum. And momentum equals victory. Step into it now and let 2025 be the year you finally see what happens when you stop standing still and start moving forward with everything inside of you.